Can everybody hear me, by the way? Yes. A bit taller than the other presenters, so
yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Appreciate that.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know BIOS, we are an IT systems integrator, or as we now sort of classify ourselves, a cloud systems integrator, because of products like Salesforce that you see today, and a lot more of the cloud products that are becoming readily available in the market. So, what we do is we actually offer IT services to business, where we try and combine the physical infrastructure that's required within your day-to-day operations with leveraging as best as what you can find out in the open market at the minute. And what I wanted to do was basically talk about the success that we've had with Aphidas around developing our sales force to really benefit our business and how it's helped our operations and us become a more kind of slick enterprise. So I thought, first of all, what I would do is I'll tell you a bit about how we service our customers and what our kind of go-to-market is. So our mission statement is actually not about technology. It's actually about driving more profit for your organisation. And typically we do that in a couple of ways. We're either trying to help you be quicker to market, or we're trying to help you reduce your costs. So if you actually work with BIOS, you see that a lot of our sales presentations, a lot of our proposals that go out are actually about, how can we save you money? And it's addressed to your CEO or your CFO. And we do that because we understand what the traditional impact of IT is. So the way that IT is consumed within an organisation ordinarily is that you spend lots of money on building an infrastructure which you write off over 3, 4, 5 years. And the actual impact of that is that day one you've got to decide with that infrastructure, how is my business going to look? What markets am I going to play in? And quite often there's a disparity between IT and the business, and the vision of one doesn't always reconcile with the vision of the other. And the problem with that is that you get two very angry people. You get the CFO who's having to sign off big capital expenditures and probably future capital expenditures to realign the vision of where IT is supposed to go. And then you get a CEO who's not happy because his IT in his mind is inflexible, it doesn't service what the business is trying to do. So what that actually looks like is something like this. So what we've basically got is we've got the blue line, which represents investment in IT. So you can see it's this kind of step change of big investment written off over a period of time. And the black dotted line is the kind of predicted demand. So we suggest that our business is going to grow by X amount, and this is why we're making these investments at certain points. The reality is, though, that the red line actually is the actual demand on IT. And you can see that in the first instance, what we've got is what we call an opportunity cost. So this is where I've invested some money in IT, and I have to wait over a period of time before that investment is actually realised. And this is where the demand is much lower than what I provisioned for. We get to the next point, which is where, in fact, the demand exceeds, and we've not invested in IT fast enough, or the current provision has run out. And this is where you actually get a negative impact. So this is where we might have a loss of customers, or a loss of profitability, or a loss of market share. And if you look around your competition in the market, you will have seen over the last few years where people have actually got into this situation. And it's because they've under or over-invested or made bad investments in IT. So what we're actually looking for, and what the cloud brings, and what products like Salesforce bring, is this ability to have an infrastructure which matches your actual demand, which is flexible and scalable, and has the ability to grow as your business grows, or even retract as your business grows. So take Salesforce, for example, is a fully feature-rich system, and you just buy user licenses, which can be enabled within 24 hours. So if I've all of a sudden gone out and acquired a new business, and I need them to be working on my business systems, I just go out and license those users to use it, and then I have the time that it takes to train them. So you compare that to having a physical system that you're trying to build out over time. You can already see that there's a benefit in doing that. And this comes down into, I made the point about cloud systems integrator. Not everything can be done in the cloud, especially in this region. Bandwidth costs are very high. Latency is an issue where you've got systems that are sat in the US that you're trying to use from here. So what you've got is basically the combination of new like virtualization and unified computing, and then cloud systems, software as a service. And what we do is we try and bring that together for an organisation as a as a unified sort of architecture. And what that ultimately does is it makes you money. It either saves you money, it either reduces your risk, it either makes you more adaptive in the market, it either makes you an IT which is more aligned to what you're trying to do as a business. Now, if you speak to any CEO or any CIO, usually they will have different opinions about what the role of IT is within an organisation. And what we're trying to do is bring that together under a unified banner. And how we do that through a number of different solutions, which we have this idea of go. It's a call to action. So you should go to the cloud, you should go virtual, you should be secure, you should have disaster recovery. And these are all services which Aphidas provides to our customers. Why we actually partnered with Aphidas and why we went down the Salesforce route is because we have pressures as a business as well. We want to increase our profitability. We want to see more of a return on investment in terms of the people that we bring into our organisation. We have the same challenges that you do. We have staff training issues. We have holiday cover. We have to, maximise our investment in every individual that comes through the door, in the technology that we adopt. We have to be the best at delivering it so that we're competitive in the market. So, what does that mean to me? That means that I need a system at the back end that matches my requirements. And although we're an IT company, CRM is not what we do. So for us to go out and buy a CRM system and manage it ourselves and back it up, and these are all costs to my business which are not predictable, which I can't fix, which I've still got to pay third parties to come in and do bits of development on. So Salesforce made a good choice, common sense for us, because it's a fixed repeatable cost. I know every month what it's going to cost me. I can forecast for that. I can then use it to increase my productivity of my staff. I don't have to worry about data loss because I'm not backing it up myself. It's in a multi-million-dollar data center somewhere, sitting on the same infrastructure that Cisco and VMware and companies like this use. So all of these quality issues and everything like that go away under one monthly cost that I'm paying for. So we loved it for that. We bought it, or we subscribed to it over 2 years ago. But it was only in recent times where we actually started to see the real value of it. And this is where partnering with Aphidas helped us. The guys actually came in. They did a full analysis of the business. They sat with all the different stakeholders, from sales, from projects, from delivery, even with the CEO. And we mapped out what does Aphidas do as an organisation. How do we, from the first time we ever speak to a customer, to the sales process, to actually delivering solutions for them into support, how do we try and do that? And what we did then is we actually created a workflow within the system. We actually had to implement a separate system, which is part of the Salesforce kind of eco partners, which is called RemedyForce. And RemedyForce does all the sales aftercare, if you like. So once you're a Aphidas customer, if you're using us for support, if you're having a project delivered, that's all kind of taken care of by that system. But it's tightly integrated. So from the point of the first interaction, whether it's you requesting a call back on our website or whether we've kind of cold called you or met you at an event, I can track the life of what goes on, and I get automated reports. So every 10 customers that we see, I can see how many we've retained, how many we've brought into the business, how many we've lost, and the reasons for it. And I don't have to do complex analysis for this. I just have a nice dashboard which I've got an iPad for, so I can see it when I'm out on the road, or I can log in every day at the office, and it will show me, what business is forecasted for this month, for next month, for the month after, what products are selling well, which ones aren't. Was that event that we did in February, was it a success or was it not? What's the return on investment for it? So I now have great visibility of what my salespeople are doing across, both of my offices, because I have 5 salespeople which are sat in Abu Dhabi as well. Now, driving to Abu Dhabi to have a sales meeting with them is something I don't particularly want to do. But looking on Salesforce to see how they're performing, and then seen, and to put some kind of real world figures around it, is that since we've implemented this, the number of opportunities per salesperson has increased, which is one of the first things I've noticed. The actual impact on the business is that we've had the best quarter one that we've had in 4 years, and the quarter two outlook, which is typically on the run up to summer, is a difficult time for us, is actually looking as strong as quarter one. So I do definitely put part of that down to the actual implementation of Salesforce that we've got, because beforehand a lot of my time would be spent in the evenings or at the weekends, trying to chase around and get information, and now I have it all to hand. And the kind of the impact of this is that the customers that we work with now are also using Salesforce. They don't know it, but people like OSN, for example. Any of you that are OSN customers, you might see OSN Play is a new thing that's just launched. They're advertising it a lot. So BIOS actually built the system that OSN Play runs on. So all of the videos and everything that you'll be watching, all that content is delivered by a solution we provided. Now, we have to support that 24/7, and all of that support and all of the customer dashboard integration that OSN sees is all through Salesforce. So this is a real world example of where we're providing a service and appearing as an enterprise organisation to some of the biggest customers in this country by leveraging something that costs a few dollars a user a month. So I'm a big advocate of this, and if anybody over lunch wants to have a bit more detail about how we use it or what we do with Salesforce, I'm more than happy to answer questions. And just a final slide, just to kind of plug us a little bit more, because that was part of the reason for coming. No shame. We're an award-winning company, and we get to the top of our game in every field that we work in. And we feel that partnerships with companies like Aphidas are a big part of that. And Elizabeth will tell you, I've already passed through a couple of leads since we've been working together with companies that we provide cloud services to, that we feel that they will benefit from this type of system. So any of you that have come here today that want to find out about Salesforce, you're in the right sort of company. So that was it. I hope I kept that to under 10 minutes as instructed. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer. No, everybody wants to. Okay.